Here's exactly how you're going to fast track getting your first editing client in 2026. And I use this exact 3-step method when I had no clients, no connections, and no skill whatsoever. And a year later, I've worked on edits that have seen millions of views worldwide, and working with some big artists and brands that I never thought would have been possible in my first year. If you're looking for a get-rich-quick scheme, you're in the wrong place. However, if you're a complete beginner starting from zero, or you struggle to get clients in general, this is the video for you. I'll be honest with you, I'm still on my editing journey, but I'll help you get over that first hurdle. So let's jump straight into it then. Okay guys, I'm not going to reveal everything just yet, but this is the new format. 3 different steps on how to guaranteed get your first editing client in 2026. Let's start with number 1, choosing a niche. Choosing a niche is very important because you want to become a specialist. But why would you want to become a specialist, you may ask? Well, the reason is you simply get more dough than you normally would if you were just a standard video editor. I'll expand on this later on, but we'll move on for now. First off, you need to choose your niche. It could be anything from car edits, music videos, podcasts, real estate. I could really go on. But also later on, I'll be getting into how to choose the perfect niche for yourself. The next step is get good at editing that niche's content. But how do we get good at one specific area of video editing? Well, the answer is YouTube University. You heard me right. For example, if you're doing music videos, you can learn from creators such as myself or many other creators out here. We all have your best interests at heart. Now, most of us, we've been through what you lot have been through before, so the main thing we want to do is help you avoid the mistakes we made. And I'll tell you what, there's no shortcut to getting better. The only thing you can really do is practice and keep learning at the same time. But yo, here's what I'm not saying. I'm not saying do not wait until you're good to start looking for clients. No. That's how people wait so long to get the first client and make absolutely no money whatsoever. But what I am saying is learn and look, which is pretty much what I've said. Keep learning and look for clients at the same time, which will be covered in the next 2 steps as well. But now onto something important. How do we choose a niche? The answer is it's complicated, but it's down to you. What are your interests? You see, this is really good for adding depth to your content because you can become a really good editor if you're passionate about it, but also it's not necessary because what's more important is the long-term goals. You may have a really good thing you're interested in, but will it get you to your goals in the future? If the answer is no, then it's probably not worth it. At the same time, be realistic about both of these. Now, here's a big thing to avoid. Being a jack of all trades and a master of none. Niche hopping is a serious problem. Even I did it when I first started. You don't want to make that mistake. You see, trying to balance so many things at once is really not sustainable. Whether you're trying to do car edits, music videos, corporate work, all this at the same time is how you become an underpaid video editor. And that is why most people on like Fiverr, etc., they get paid really little because they're just your standard editor you can get for a cheap price. They'll edit anything. But that is what you want to avoid. You want to become, like I was saying, a specialist in your area. And that's exactly the direction you want to go. Another quote, I don't remember exactly, so I'm not going to waste time, but I'll put it up on the screen. The Bruce Lee quote of the kick of 10,000 times. I don't remember, man. Don't have a go at me. It's up on the screen right here. Get good in one area, then you can move on to another one later. It's not necessary to stay in the same one forever, so don't worry about that. Step number 2 is outreach. If you're a beginner editor and you've never worked for anyone before, you have no clients because no one knows what you do. And as a beginner editor, the best way to get around this is simply to outreach to people and businesses. Pay attention because this is important. Clients will not turn up to your door. You gotta go knocking. Look, let me be honest with you. One outreach to one business, whatever, is not gonna get you nowhere. Maybe 10 won't get you anywhere. Maybe 100 won't get you anywhere. Maybe 1,000 won't get you anywhere. But consistency in the video editing game is key. It's all about volume, okay? Keep outreaching. Don't worry about the numbers of how many you sent. You look at yourself and wonder why is that not working and constantly try to improve it. But you guys are beginners, so let me explain it a bit better. Which moves me on to where do we outreach to? So we can outreach via social media, which is great for video editors once you've got a bit of a portfolio up. But as you guys don't have that yet, I'd say the best thing for you is email. Because email, you don't have to have clout, a certain following count. Everyone has an email. A domain name would be great, but if you don't have that, just do a professional Gmail or whatever. It doesn't matter. As long as your profile picture ain't something stupid and you have a good offer, it doesn't matter what email you use. People will be interested. Which moves me on to in-person, okay? This can be useful, but the problem I put it as 2 stars is because it's unreliable. You see, the reason I put it as 2 stars is because it can depend on every niche. If you're working with, for example, coffee shops, in-person is amazing. But if you're working in the music industry, it ain't gonna work as well, I'll tell you that. Maybe you go spot a random rapper on the street that you know from music and then you're like, oh, let me go outreach to him in person. That can work, but it's unreliable and it only works for certain niches. So I put it as 2 stars. not to discount it because it's very powerful depending on your niche. Now moving on to cold calling, you're probably wondering why I put that as 1 star. Again, it depends. Let's talk music industry for a second. If you've somehow got a rapper's number, you call them up randomly and say, yo, let me edit your music video for you. Probably ain't going to be happy. However, for more corporate businesses, cold calling can be a very useful tool. So I put it as 1 star, not to discount it, but it's more on versatility. So now let's move on to how to outreach. Pretty simple framework. You need to find prospects in your local area or online. A useful thing to do for the next step is to make a list on like Google Sheets or something. Include a name, their email or their social tag, whatever it may be. The response, read, same thing. A good website I recommend for you lot is Rocket Reach. It's very good for gathering emails. It's stupid if you didn't want to do that, but if you don't, it's simply all about research. What video editors are doing well in your niche, who are the big players, and who needs your service. All of these are important questions you need to be asking yourself, but that moves me on to structure. How should you be messaging these people? Like I said, if you lot do want a deep dive, let me know down in the comments. Step number 1 is show interest. Don't just hit them up asking for a sale. That is desperate and not the way to go about a sale. You need to show them you care about their business. After that, because you're a beginner, you don't have a portfolio you can send out to people, so you need to prove the value you can give to them. People want results, and if you can provide those results and make it clear you can, that's all that matters. Then just simply send it over. The best thing you can do right now at this stage as a beginner is aim to get as many outreaches as you can. It's all about volume, as I was saying earlier. Just keep pushing at it and keep improving your outreaches with time. This moves me on to number 3, which is networking. Super important skill, guys, if not the most important on this entire board. You can always go to events in person. If that's not possible, Discord is really good for reaching other editors and other creatives. Along with that, start connecting and building genuine relationships with locals who are doing similar things to you. But if there is no locals doing similar things to you, you can always go online and just build connections over there. And here's a good one. Network with other people which your service collabs with. For example, if you do editing, network with videographers, network with directors, or even, for example, if you do real estate videos, network with real estate videographers or even real estate agents themselves. I could go on forever, but I'm sure you can get the gist of what I've said there. You can use all of these to build yourself a network. And you know that quote, your network is your net worth, and you know what? That is facts. But talking about networking reminds me of a big mistake I see with beginner editors when it comes to networking. Mistake number 1 is not building your network correctly. Building your network only to get work out of people. This is a really bad way to go about it, guys. I mean, you may get one piece of work out of someone, but it's really not a good way to go. You'll have a stained reputation from it for only wanting to get things out of people. You won't have long-term relationships out of it. There's so many negatives, it's not even worth me going on about it. But as a beginner, you're probably asking me, well, why am I building a network if I don't want to get work out of it? That's true. But you also got to think a bit long term here. First off, that doesn't give you or your business a good impression. And second off, you'll probably make more money in the long term if you actually build a genuine connection with someone. You should be thinking about making good connections and even making friends. And that leads me on to mistake number 2 I see with beginner editors, which is not networking enough. No matter how big you are, your network can always be bigger. And making an even bigger network means an even more positive cycle. In return for making a bigger network, you make more friends. You have access to more resources, you meet people with different roles which can help in your business and you can help in theirs. And then another important one, which is help. You can help people out and they can help you out. Of course, keep it business related, but at the same time, you can make friends as well, you know. It's not that deep. To summarize everything, step 1, you need to choose your niche and learn from the relevant channels. Then step number 2 is while you're learning, start outreaching to potential prospects. Then you need to get in a cycle of outreaching to prospects and learning. So outreach, learn, 24/7. What this makes sure is that either way, you're improving in some form of way. Either you're improving your communication with outreach or you're improving your skill by learning more. Either way, it's a positive cycle and it will lead you towards your first client. Look, you could be in any country. You could be in Brazil, India, America, UK, wherever. You need to keep building your network. You have the internet. If you can watch this video, you can network. But you see, if you implement all 3 of these steps, your first client is inevitable. I promise you that with my full heart. Follow all these steps, keep pushing, guarantee you'll get your first client. I can say this with my chest.